Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic. Well, it certainly is, 'tis the season to be jolly, is it not? We're into December. It's amazing. It's my favourite time of the year. I'm sort of a big kid at heart when it comes to Christmas and Santa Claus and all those wonderful things. But I think the most important thing for me is the fact that people sort of tend to be, besides being busy and stressed out with what they've got to do between now and Christmas Day, it's a magical time of the year. It's when people become a little bit more positive. They start to sort of spend a little bit of time with the people that matter to them. And I think that's the magic of Christmas. You know, for the little children, it's the wonderment of Santa Claus and the presents and what they're going to get under the tree. But for us grown-ups, it's more about spending time with the people that we care about, the people that we love, and sort of being thankful that we made another year. I think that's a big thing too, as you get past a certain age, to sort of turn around and say, well, I made it another year. So having said that, the Simply Tarot card of the week is one of my favourite cards. It's the Four of Pentacles. It's a really beautiful card in as much as it's money improvements. Now, who couldn't do with a few money improvements at this time of the year? There's more money coming your way. So it's a time there where we really sort of start to look for sort of maybe some ways that we can make a potentially a little bit more income than what we could, or, you know, maybe cut back on some of those prezzies that we were going to buy, set a budget and be realistic this year. And I think that's the major theme around the world. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, you know, set a budget, be realistic. Children don't need the most expensive gift under the tree. They just need to know that they're loved and something that they can get some pleasure out of. I was always big on buying educational things, that not only something that brought a smile to their face, but taught them something as well. So, you know, maybe there's lots of ideas. And, you know, people do appreciate a lovely homemade gift, you know, some nice sweet treats or cake or something like that, that shows them how much that you love them. So this is a really important card. Money improvements, more money coming your way, and maybe by sort of cutting the budget back a little bit on the Christmas spending. So, okay, astrologically, the sun obviously is in Sagittarius, which is magical. It's a magical time of the year. Happy birthday to all the fellow Sagittarians out there. It's our time to shine. It's our time to sort of really sort of ramp everything up and sort of be grateful that we were born under this most magnificent sign. Look, all the 12 signs are amazing, but Saggy obviously is my favourite. So we've got, you know, the sun in Sagittarius, which is obviously a fire sign. It's going to be a time where a lot of people are going to be, no matter what your star sign is, really thinking about what's coming next. What do I want to achieve for 2026? What did I achieve in 2025? Is there things that I can cross off the list that say, as I'm drawing to close of the end of the year, they're no longer important? Some of them may carry over for next year. A lot of people are questioning whether or not they're in the right job. Is this the right place for me? Do I want this moving forward? You know, is it time to look at sort of shaking things up, making some changes next year? So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be questioning, even though it's a very, very busy time of the year. Now, at the moment, we have Venus, the planet of love and affection, is conjunct or holding hands the sun in Sagittarius. So this predominantly does affect the fire signs, which is Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, and the opposite sign of Gemini, but it will wash over the remaining 8 signs. So Venus here is saying, you know, like if you're really looking for love, make sure that you get out there and get part of the festivities, because the Sagittarian energy is about enjoying things, is about getting out, traveling, seeing new places, putting yourself out there, doing something different, the great outdoors, you know. And I know in the Northern Hemisphere where the weather's turning inclement and, you know, it's snowing and it's cold and miserable, you might not necessarily want to go to the park for a concert in the park unless you're really rugged up. But it's asking you to get out and go to places that maybe you normally wouldn't do, you know. And for those of you that might be traveling, this might be the perfect time that you end up sitting next to your future partner on the plane or on the train or on the bus. So just be open to sort of, love doesn't always come knocking on the door in the way that we think. Sometimes love comes in the most obscure, unusual sort of places, like standing in a queue to buy a present, you know, can be where you can meet the love of your life. So be open to new possibilities is what I'm suggesting. We have Mars, the planet of action, is also sitting in Sagittarius, is not holding hands or conjunct with the sun or Venus. Mars is nearing the end of his cycle in Sagittarius, but Mars is asking us to sort of get up off the couch and do something constructive, do something different with our lives. He's the planet of action, but he's also the planet that sort of says, what have you achieved? You know, asking you to delve deep inside yourself and asking yourself, did I really put enough effort into that situation or that opportunity that I really wanted? And if it didn't happen, is it my fault? Is it because I did not put enough effort into it? Or was I really only thinking I wanted it? Maybe I had a better plan, or I found a better opportunity to throw my energies into. It's never about anything being right or wrong. It's about what felt right at the time and how much energy and effort we were prepared to put into something. And sometimes by doing that, we get shown that there's a better opportunity, or there's a better angle that we could be going for, or a better job that we could be applying for. But we wouldn't have known that had we not started the process of where we were. So don't ever look at things as being a waste of time or a mistake. We have the planet of communication. Mercury is still sitting in Scorpio. Now, my affectionate little saying here is having like eating razor blades for breakfast, because that's how sometimes when people who have Mercury and Scorpio in their chart can sometimes be that when they really want to get their point across, it is really cutting, it's really deep, it's really sort of no emotion, it's just in your face. So just be careful here, because this can wash over all the 12 signs. Be careful if you've got to have a really important conversation with someone, whether it's your boss or whether it's something on a personal level. Make sure that you put a little bit of sweetness in there. Don't go in there like the typical Mercury and Scorpio with, you know, having razor blades for breakfast and cutting somebody down to size, because that may not be the angle to get the best out of the conversation or the best out of the situation. If you go in there all guns are blazing, you immediately get somebody else's hackles up and get them, you know, that they're on the defensive. Where you come in a little bit more approachable, they sort of melt a little bit and listen more carefully to what you've got to say, and maybe a little bit more amenable to sort of accommodating what you're asking for, or the conversation will flow better because you've approached it in that sort of way. So I can't stress that enough, particularly as the year is so busy and we're all, you know, running hither and dither trying to get everything done. Just make sure that any conversation you're having, even with a shop clerk, is a pleasant one. You know, it's always nice to ask them how their day's been. You can't believe how incredibly busy they feel and how stressed out they feel, and then to have an angry customer or somebody that's rough with them doesn't make their day either. But if you smile and ask them, how's your day going, they can sort of relax and feel that they're doing something that's worthwhile and makes them feel that they are valued. And I think that's the important thing. We need to value people. So we have Saturn, the planet of discipline, is sitting in Pisces. He's just gone direct. Now, this is a good situation now, because it means Saturn will sort of finally move out of Pisces and move into Aries fairly soon. So it's been a long haul for all the Pisceans, which is also affects the water signs, which is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, in the opposite sign of Virgo. They feel like they've been sort of sitting in a vice for some time now, for 2.5 years, that, you know, everything that they've gone to do has had a restriction or a limitation, or has been doubly hard. And there hasn't been the momentum to sort of get things flowing in your life quite as easily as what there should have been. It's been a hard grind. But on the positive side, they have achieved so much in the time that Saturn's been sitting here. And I have lots of Pisces family and friends, and I've noticed that the maturing and growing, they haven't lost that innocence, and they haven't lost that ability to sort of to be a little bit Peter Pan-y and not want to grow up. But at the same time, there's this hint of a real mature, grown up sort of Pisces, which was sometimes, in some cases, a long time in coming. But it's a good thing, because there's a really good balance there now. So if you know a Pisces, give them a bit of a hug and say, I'm really proud of you, because they really have done a lot of work on themselves. And also they've had Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, their own ruling planet, has been there. So it's been a really difficult time, you know, with Saturn on one hand telling them to grow up, and Neptune over here saying, well, you know, don't forget to be a bit playful, don't forget to be like a child, don't forget to have some fun, and sort of, you know, sort of questioning everything that Saturn was trying to teach them. So it's been a really difficult time for them. So, you know, they're coming out of the fog now. Both planets have gone direct, and it won't be long before they'll be moving into Aries, and it'll be their turn to have some fun with Neptune and Saturn. We have Uranus, the planet of sudden and unexpected things, is still retrograde, will be sitting retrograde until February 26th next year. And Saturn is still sitting, Saturn, Uranus is still sitting in Taurus. So the final sort of blowout there of the earth signs, where it's sort of finally still sort of shaking things up a little bit for Virgos, Tauruses, and Capricorns in the opposite sign of Scorpio. So if you're one of those signs, just be aware that there still could be some unpredictable, unexpected things sort of happening, but the energy is a little bit more subdued now until February 26th, till Uranus goes direct again. We also have Jupiter sitting in a retrograde position in Cancer again till February 26th. So this is affecting the water signs, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and the opposite sign of Capricorn. So for people that are dealing with any cancers, it's going to be 1 step forward, 3 steps backwards, 2 steps forward, 6 steps backwards. They're really going to be looking as if they are more than ever walking sideways to go forward. I'm suggesting if you have a Cancer person in your life, you're going to have to be really, really patient with them, because they're going to be a bit moody. They're going to be a little bit unpredictable. They're sort of trying to expand their world, but it's a big, scary world there for them. You know, they want change and they want expansion and they want opportunities, but at the same time, wake me up when it's all over. So that's not possible. They have to do the lessons, they have to do the work. So that's where we're going to leave the astrology section this week. We're going to talk with Lynn in Castleberry in Florida. Are you there, Lynn?
Yes, I am.
Hello,
Thank
Lynn.
You. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a question
Hello.
I can answer for you, please, sweetie? Hi, Lynn. Have you got a question I can answer for you?
Yes, I do. Basically, I had a workman's comp case, and
Right.
I've just had finalized. And because I'm under Medicare, they wanted me to put a portion in Medicare. And to be honest with you, I don't want to do that, because now they're saying, well, your lawyer's out of the case, you need to hire a new lawyer. And I'm like, well, that's going to be out of my pocket. And I think, no offense to the government, I think they're going above and beyond. And I'm wondering if I can just not follow through with them.
I think you've got to follow your instincts here. I mean, normally I don't tackle legal questions, Lynn, because, you know, legal questions are sort of something, unless you're properly trained in that area, a psychic doesn't have that expertise. But from everything that you've told me and shared with me, to me, this sort of feels like it's almost as if you've been victimized, you know, like, oh, well, why, you know, this didn't work, so go over here and do this. And that's not good.
Yep. My lawyer victimized me.
Yeah, and, you know, look, not all lawyers are, you know, do a perfect job. We know that. But, you know, in this instance, you know, they shouldn't have taken the case on unless they believed that they could follow through for you and get a good outcome. They should have been honest in the beginning, and that's wrong, isn't it? You know, they've left you out to dry. You know, I don't know whether getting another lawyer is necessarily, you know, besides the cost factor, you're starting all over again, aren't you?
Exactly, and it would be out of my pocket.
Yeah, and besides it coming out of your pocket, but I mean, you're starting all over again with a new lawyer, and you have to, you know, break them in and get them up to speed and whatever. Is there a chance that you can handle this on your own?
That's what my instincts are, is just to walk from all this and just deal with it by myself. And
look, I can't tell you what to do, but that to me feels right, Lynn. You know, it's sort of like you've gone so far. The lawyer's done you a bad turn, not a good turn. To engage somebody else, you know, yes, it's going to cost a bunch of money, but it's also going to cost a bunch of time too. And I'm sure you want this situation resolved as quickly as possible, do you not? You know, it's been dragging on for too long.
More money in his pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been dragging on too long. There's got to be a resolution. There's got to be a settlement here, hasn't there? Look, if it was me, I'd be trying it on my own. If I didn't feel that, you know, I could handle it, if it got to a point that, you know, look, this is above your pay grade of what you can deal with, then engage a lawyer. But I think try it on yourself first and foremost. And if, you know, you can't deal with it, then okay, then you've got to bite the bullet and say, okay, this is going to cost me more money. I've got to get legal representation. But I think we can get this really sort of sorted out quite quickly, because I don't think all parties concerned want this to drag on. I think they all want to get to the table and negotiate and get it finalised and sorted out and out of the road.
Yes, that's true. Because the government or Medicare is giving me till the end of the year.
Right. Well, that's not very long. If
Okay.
you were to engage a new lawyer and try and get them up to speed and get them, motivated and moving along, you know, that's not very long at all when you take out all the holidays.
Yeah. No,
That's
it would not
almost an
take place.
impossible task, isn't it?
It is. It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, look, I think you can resolve this. I think you can do better yourself. I really do. You've got all the
I'm
material that
going
the
to do
lawyer
that.
worked with. Yeah, so that
Mm-hmm.
would be my suggestion then. And, I know you're strong enough to
Okay.
do this. You've come this far. So, let's see it through to the end.
Yes, I know you understand astrology, so yeah, I kind of understand some of it too. And I know with Mercury retrograde, fortunately, now we still have the shadow side till the 15th, so it's a little bit precarious yet.
Yeah, but Mercury's gone direct this week, so that's a bonus. It means now that things are
Yes,
going to
it is.
start to become a lot clearer than what they were. If it had been last week, I'd be sort of saying, well, hang on a minute, let's be a little bit more cautious here with Mercury retrograde because nobody's got their listening ears on. But Mercury has gone direct as of Monday, so it's still in the process of ramping back up to full speed, but it's certainly in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
And your thinking is very clear, and that's what you need to be reminding yourself: is your thinking's clear. You didn't cause this problem. It's now time to get it resolved to the best of your ability.
Okay,
Okay, sweetie,
that
so I hope
sounds
that's
fair.
helped you.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Because yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to just, to be honest with you, just ignore this because I'm over it.
Yeah, well, I can
Mm-hmm.
understand that, yes, because it's just all too difficult. But there's finances at stake here, and it's what comes out of your pocket, so we need to minimise that as much as possible. We want as much as
Yes.
possible in your bank account, not anybody else's. You're the one that's gone
Right.
through the
Right.
ordeal, and that's why it's
Yes, I
important that I
have.
think that that you push forward with this now. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise your lawyer didn't do what they should have done. Sometimes the universe works in peculiar ways that we don't understand until we look back in the rear vision mirror and think, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have got this result. So, I'm looking at it on
I
a positive.
feel that way. I feel like if I go ahead and make a couple phone calls, I can just move forward and not have to deal with it
Yeah.
anymore. I've been feeling that.
Yeah, well, then follow your gut because, your own instincts are never wrong, Lynn. So, that's where we're going to leave it, sweetie, but I wish you well with it and I know you're going to be successful. So we're going to talk with Kylie now in Scottdale in Pennsylvania. Are you there, Kylie?
I am.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, please, Kylie?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have a question you'd like me to answer for you, sweetie?
Hmm. Well, I am dealing with, I know this is so, I guess cliche, but my ex, well, no, I'm sorry, not my ex, my boyfriend currently, I do believe that he is like being promiscuous. I have caught him. I have investigated on my own. I feel like I have a very strong gut feeling. It never has led me wrong. And deep down in my heart, I do think he is. I wrote him a letter today. I'm pretty sure he read it. No response. We live together. So, I mean, we've lived together for 4 years. So I caught him on OnlyFans for 2 years. Spent a lot of money, like looking at other girls while like I'm here. And there's other like there's other reasons I think that.
Well, the first thing I want to say to you, Kylie, is never ignore your own gut feeling, your own instincts, because, there's a reason why this is sort of happening. If it was just a passing thought and it happened once or twice, I'd say that's not, let's not hit the panic button yet. But when your insides are screaming to you that there's something wrong, that you've got to pay attention, look at this, look at that, that's happening for a reason. And the fact that he can't be open and honest with you, I think, is an even bigger red flag here because, he doesn't feel that he's done anything wrong. And that's the stupid part about it. In this day and age where people sort of don't probably really fully understand what it means to be cheating on someone. Cheating on someone, in my definition, in this modern world, is anybody that goes into a chat room or into some sort of text messaging or sort of, messaging backwards and forwards and
Mhm.
things like that, having banter like that, to me is a form of cheating. They may not have had the
Mhm. I
physical
agree.
bedroom activity that we used to associate with somebody having an affair, but they're having a cyber affair, which is the same thing because
Right.
it's taking energy away from you and the relationship. And people sort of say, "Oh, but I didn't do anything wrong." Well, I beg to differ. If you've got to venture outside and start talking to somebody else, whether it's in a chat room or it's over the cyber internet or over a video chat or whatever, it's the same as meeting somebody down the road at the coffee shop and having a cup of coffee with them and against or not sharing with your partner that's what you're doing. That is a form of cheating. Look, we can all have
Mhm.
friends of the opposite sex. I'm not saying we can't, but there's a line that you draw with that. And when you start sort of having to sort of want to be with that person or want to get online and talk to them or whatever, then it's no longer just a straight platonic friendship. There is an emotional connection there. Look, I think you've got some fairly big decisions to make here, Kylie, because I don't think he's being truthful with you. I don't think he's been truthful with you for a long time. And I'm not even sure that he's going to acknowledge what you're trying to share with him that is unacceptable. In his way of
I
looking
don't
at things, he's
either.
done something wrong. And that's, where do you go from here? You're between a rock and a hard place. You've both got different boundaries. I'm sure if the situation was reversed and you were doing what he's doing to you, he'd be jumping up and down.
Oh,
But he,
it's absolutely
but he
double.
won't.
Yeah, it's double standards.
Yeah,
And he's
absolutely.
admitted. He's
But he
admitted.
wouldn't admit
He's
that,
admitted.
if you did something like that, that it wouldn't upset him. Of course it would. It is going to upset him. Look, there's no simple solution here, Kylie. I mean, you've got to follow your heart. I mean, if if this is so unacceptable to you, which I believe it is, then you've got to make some choices for you. And I know it's not the easiest time of the year, but it's the time of the year when these sort of issues really come to the forefront because we look at it and we think, I don't want to spend another year like this, like this is why it becomes so urgent. So, take your time. Don't be in too much of a hurry to try and sort this out yesterday, but make
I'm
sure
not.
that when you no, but make sure when you do present it to him, you try and do it in a calm way and sort of say to him, like, this is not a new issue. I've been tracking this for some time. I hope you understand how much this has hurt me and how you would feel if you were in my situation. He's going to deny it. We know that. He's going to say you're overreacting, you're being silly, you're being a female, all the usual things, and you're not being any of
Mhm.
those things. And that's why I want you to do it in a very calm, logical, practical sort of way that when you try and present this information to him and sort of say, well, I don't know where we go from here because I don't feel I can trust you. And that's what it is. It comes back to a matter of trust. Your trust has been
Mhm.
broken, regardless of whether or not he really has, in his eyes, broken your trust. He has by talking to someone and not just having a general conversation, I mean an emotional conversation. And that's what it
Right.
is. It's an emotional connection.
He's incapable of that though. Like he's admitted to the OnlyFans because I had the proof there. He's the type of person that unless you have the proof right in front of him, he will not. I've been like I know narcissist is thrown out there so much these days but I've been like reading a lot I listen to audibles, I should say. And it's just it's just I don't know. It just fits everything.
It's
Like
wrong.
I
It
caught him on
doesn't. It's
OnlyFans.
not how you want to live.
No. And
And
like every time I
it
catch
doesn't
him, it's
matter.
like, go ahead.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter how much you love him. This is like somebody tunneling underneath your relationship. You know, eventually it's going to sink, isn't it? You can't keep
Mhm.
putting a lid on this or keep shoving it down in your throat when it's eating away at you. Every day it's like a little piece of your love that you had for him is disappearing out into the ether because he's not honoring you in the way that he should.
Right. And that is what I
And
put in the letter. I put that if
yeah,
he
good.
put as much effort in to this relationship that he did on shipping packages and stocks on, because he's into Pokemon too. That's another thing I can't stand, because Pokemon, when you said chat rooms, yes, that has been another issue with him talking to females on that. And he wants to say it's only Pokemon, which I can't stand Pokemon. What grown man likes that shit? But however, to each their own. But yes, that's how I found the evidence of OnlyFans, was looking for Pokemon receipts, because he spends astronomical amounts on a lunch break on Pokemon, and I happened to come across a mail statement, and there was OnlyFans on there, and I'm talking like probably over a 2-year period, $4,000 on naked girls. That's like an, in fact, that's like a, it's like a, like, I know he's embarrassed about it, but like, see, I'm different. Like, I'm open, you know what I mean? No matter, if I don't try to hide anything, 'cause I don't have anything to hide, well, I guess, but he is like, all of it's a secret. It's all a secret. And I just found last week that he was talking to girls again on, like, you know, this chat. He's like embarrassed. He just can't, I don't think he's ever said sorry. He never will admit to anything. And we've been together for 4 years.
No, because he doesn't believe he's doing the wrong thing. So therefore you don't admit to something if it's not wrong. So you've got some big decisions to make. I mean, you know, let's just wait and see what he does about the letter. I mean, the first thing I think he's going to do is ignore it. I don't think he's going to even acknowledge he's read it, because then if he acknowledges he's read it, then he's got to take some sort of responsibility for what you've put in there and have a conversation, and he's not ready to do that yet. Look, sweetie, I just think, you know, over the next month, you've got some big decisions to make. Just follow your heart, do what feels right to you, and, you know, see where this takes you. And I wish you the very best. We have to finish it up there because we've come to the end of the show. Feel sorry for Kylie and her predicament, but sometimes these things are given to us so that we can sort of make choices and decisions for the future that we need to make for our higher self and the betterment of ourselves. We can't always keep shoving something down our throat. So anyway, on a lighter note, I always feature a song of the week as we come to the end of the show, and it's always been something that usually, you know, I either think about or it jumps out at me or whatever. As a last resort, I go through my song list. But at this time of the year, with Christmas being only weeks away, it's only fitting that we're going to start to sort of feature a Christmas carol each week. And each week it'll be random. It won't necessarily have any particular meaning why I've picked it. But this week's different because I'm going to be a little bit self-indulgent here and make a suggestion that you go away and wherever you get your music devices from, you know, wherever you stream your music from, and listen to this beautiful classic that I know my producer is going to be very happy about, which is Helen Reddy and Sleigh Ride. And I think it's one of the most beautiful renditions of this song, and she does a beautiful version of it. And I know he's going to be very happy, and I'm sure you will too when you listen to the beautiful voice of Helen Reddy, who was an Australian but spent many, many years in the US. And, you know, she just had an amazing voice that, you know, I don't think there'll ever be another lady on the planet that can sing like Helen Reddy does and do this song justice. So until next week, Sleigh Ride, let's get ready for Santa. Bye for now.